What's up everybody, it's Blind Run again, and I was going to talk to you guys about capture cards because I've had an HD PVR2 for quite a while now, a few years. It's the 30 FPS at 1080p model and it just wasn't cutting it. So I went ahead and went out and picked up an Elgato HD60 and we're going to talk about it right after this. The Elgato HD60, obviously, as it's named, Game Capture HD60, offers 1080p 60 FPS resolution from either PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, Xbox One, and of course PC and Wii U. It'll pretty much work with everything. On the PlayStation 4, you'll need to disable HDCP, which will then not allow you to play Blu-rays or DVDs anymore. As far as the aesthetics go, the industrial design is fantastic. It looks really good and I enjoy it, especially with the matte black. However, the matte black does give off a lot of fingerprints, but as long as you're not touching it too much, you should be good to go. Now, setup's pretty simple. You do need it. No disc comes with the device, which I appreciate. Make you go to their website to pick it up. There's just kind of one little problem or one hitch here is when you go and plug the HD60 into your PC, Windows 10 will automatically update your driver. However, it doesn't pull the right one and it can cause some install issues and confusion since you can end up installing two drivers, which is very odd. I don't know why the Elgato software or install program doesn't uninstall the old driver automatically, but it just doesn't appear to work that way. So I had some issues there and had to do a couple reboots and uninstalls and reinstalls of the driver. And once that got going, I'm a live streamer and I'm mainly using this for live streaming console play from the PS4 as well as from the Xbox One and even my PC now as I've built a dedicated streaming rig. The Elgato HD60 uses H.264 encoding as would be kind of expected with them and comes with game capture software that, while functions well, does not offer quite the customability that a company like even AverMedia or Hop would allow you to tweak settings in. So you're going to basically have a slider that goes from good to best, and that's going to be about it. There's no real definition on what bit rate you're at or anything of that sort. And so if you're trying to troubleshoot, that can cause some issues. And once you get into troubleshooting with XSplit, you can have a lot of issues. I recommend just right off the bat uninstalling and reinstalling XSplit. That is what I ended up having to do. But maybe you'll be okay. Here's the thing, is what happens when you install the driver and everything. It will show up as a camera in XSplit. However, when it's a camera in XSplit, it doesn't show the actual video coming through. The reason the Elgato HD60 does not show any video input coming into the device when you import it into XSplit as a camera is because XSplit automatically goes to the default. Now you can right click and change what the default is or the settings within XSplit. However, they were all grayed out for me when I first did that. So it was stuck on Xbox One and I was trying to set it for PlayStation 4 and I couldn't change anything because all the boxes were grayed out and even said no device detected. There's a couple ways around this. One is to boot the game capture software and change the settings and then try to boot XSplit. That didn't work for me. And the second is to change the settings and then uninstall and reinstall XSplit and then boot XSplit and you should be good to go. Now, the quality is fantastic. It's a lot better than my HD PVR2, and I'm very happy with it. I would say, though, it does have some problems after like long use or input switching. It will start to kind of go on the fritz, and it'll jitter, and it'll kind of bump back and forth and not work so swell all the time. All these problems are solved by resetting the device, just unplugging and plugging it back in. And with XSplit, you end up every time you reset the device, you need to reset XSplit as well. I don't know why this is, but that is in the current version of XSplit, and hopefully that'll get solved either with drivers from Elgato, which I'm assuming is the problem, or with a new update in the software for XSplit. I did not use this with OBS, so I don't have any idea on OBS compatibility. Of course, OBS is very open source, so I don't know if you could actually get an official compatibility check with them. I have looked it up, and it is supposed to work quite well with OBS, and so you should be good to go. We're going to put some just 1080p 60 FPS capture in the back. As you can see, I'm recording Diablo 3 for Xbox One right now. I'll try to get one Xbox, one PS4, and one PC capture for all of y'all and be good to go. The Elgato game capture software does offer streaming from within the software itself, but I wouldn't recommend it, as you get a lot more customizability with something like XSplit or OBS. But if you are looking for a starter way to start streaming, I think that it works just fine. It offers lag-free, or supposedly lag-free throughput, or a pass-through for HDMI, so you have an in and then you have an out. And with that pass-through, you should be able to play the game while record and not have to have a splitter. However, I would recommend having a splitter, and for PC, I would recommend cloning the screen, especially if you're doing something like you running a 144 Hertz monitor on your PC and you need to have the full frame rate. Otherwise, you're going to end up capping yourself at 60 Hertz, which means 60 FPS essentially. Now, with other capture cards, I've noticed that if you go above that 60 Hertz with cloning, you can end up having some issues with screen tear, but I'm happy to report that the Elgato does not have any screen tear at this point. The Elgato is compatible with both Windows 7 and up and Mac OS X 10 and up, so you should be good to go there. It requires an i5 2500, so second gen or up i5 to capture, and if you want to stream, you're going to need an i5 or an i7 second gen and up. Do I recommend this capture card? I think that it's the best one out right now, and I will say that because the Hauppauge still has a low bit rate. It still has about a 3.5 second lag, as opposed to the Elgato only has about 650 millisecond is what I've kind of come to figure out. And it's a bit, it bounces between half second and 650 depending on the day and the game. Of course, game does always change bit rates. Some games it records better than others. It will get really, really crisp Diablo. It won't get as crisp capture of like Far Cry Primal. So keep that in mind. That's kind of the way everything works. Obviously, if it has some sort of bitrate cap, I don't know what that's at. However much information it's able to actually process, depending on the amount of information that is sent to the card. Thanks for watching, guys. Overall, I'm very happy with the Elgato HD Capture, Game Capture HD60. It seems to be the best bang for the buck currently out, coming in at about $179 at the making of this video. And I just don't think that there's any capture card, especially USB 2.0, that's going to offer quite what it can offer. And with my disappointments on Hauppauge and their USB 2.0 from the previous generation during the 1080p 30 FPS phase of capture cards, I don't feel like going back, especially since I know that they use the same software still, the same capture software, and for the most part the same drivers. They have a lot of issues, and having a cap at 14,000 kbps for 1080p 30 FPS even is just ridiculous. So you need to be able to scale that up as high as you want. I do wish that the Elgato allowed me to see exactly what the bit rate is at, but the quality overall looks good. And I also like to be able to see it. It will show you the frame rate within the capture that is being sent to the Elgato itself. So that is helpful with analyzing console games because it's not always easy to see exactly what the frame rate's at. And this way you can plug it in and get a for sure number and be ready and set to go. For example, I am playing Far Cry Primal on PlayStation 4 right now. And as opposed to before where you're just playing it and you're like, yeah, this kind of looks good. It has a couple hitches here and there. You can see where the hitches are. You can see that it isn't always maintaining 60 FPS in the case of Far Cry Primal. It has drops into the 40s quite often for the PlayStation 4 version. It's nice to have that information. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know if you guys would like more information on hardware that I use for live streaming. I have quite a few things. And the setup for my dedicated streaming rig is pretty interesting. So if you're interested in that, please let me know once again in the comments below. And until next time, peace the fuck out.